Hi everyone. So we're going to start with the second lecture of modern history, and as you all can see on your screen that I have mentioned the book, the reference chapters and the pages number which you can refer to cover today's topic. And I believe you all must be aware that in the very first lecture we ended up on Jahangir Shah. From lecture 1 the reference is Jahangir Shah, and from today onwards we'll start with the later Mughals, and the topics which we're gonna cover is the later Mughals and the reasons of decline of Mughals. So after Jahangir Shah, please write down Farooq Shiar, the next ruler of Mughal, the next Mughal ruler in fact. So the third ruler is Farooq Shiar. (1713 to 1719). Before we proceed about the ruler, it's important for us to understand the hierarchy in a normal Mughal kingdom, right? So before we start studying about Farooq Shiar, it is important us to understand hierarchy, because this is the time when many nobles who were associated with the Mughal empires were smart enough, or you can say cunning, in taking away or carving out their own territory which you can rule on their own. So hierarchy in Mughal empire was usually, you have king, then under king you have wazir, and under wazir you have set of nobles. So there could be n number of nobles. And who are nobles? Nobles are primarily persons from different country of origin, contributing with their different knowledge set in helping the king in administrating his own empire. So Mughals could be of Iranian origin, which is known as Persian. Then you have Hindustani, the native people of our own country. Afghans, also known as Duranis, Durrani. And then you have Turkish, in earlier times they were called as Turans, Turrans. So this is just an example of nobles belonging to different countries. And one of the best example you can remember is of Akbar and Birbal. So Birbal was a noble in Akbar's time. So I hope you have wrote this down. So now, after understanding the hierarchy, we're going to start with Farooq Shiar. Sorry, just a small spelling mistake. This is Okay, so I hope you have written this down. So please write down the very first point under Farooq Shiar. Farooq Shiar came into power with the support of nobles Sayyid brothers. I'm rubbing this part. So write down the very first point. Farooq Shiar came into power with the support of nobles Sayyid brothers, Sayyid brothers, Brothers, named Abdullah Khan and Hassan Ali. Write down the second point. After coming to power, Abdullah Khan, he himself became the Wazir. As Wazir, and Hassan Ali as Mir Bakshi. Write down the third point regarding the traits of Farooq Shiar. Farooq Shiar was an incapable and an influenced, and usually gets influenced by small flatteries. Flatteries, FLA. Write down the fourth point. Taking advantage of this, Sayyid brothers took control of the administration. Fifth point. They adopted the policy of religious tolerance. Religious tolerance, and associated Hindu chief and nobles in governance. Sixth point. So these are 5. I'm writing down 6 there. They also abolished pilgrimage tax. 6th point. They abolished pilgrimage tax. And also during the tenure, the Sikh leader Banda Bahadur, who was a rebel in Jahangir Shah's. During the tenure, the Sikh leader Banda Bahadur was taken prisoner at Gurdaspur and executed at Delhi. Banda Bahadur he was taken prisoner at Gurdaspur and executed at Delhi. So you have to make sure that you write down the important places, and according to the chronology you can simply remember it like a story. It will help you. So I hope you have written this down. So I'm just gonna rub the below mentioned parts. So one important thing happened during the tenure of Farooq Shiar. What happened was he issued a royal farman. Of 1717. Please write this down as a subtopic 3A under this only. So in this, what happened was, write down the very first point. It all started when one British physician, William Hamilton, cured Farooq Shiar, who was suffering from a disease. William Hamilton, he cured Farooq Shiar. Second point, as a token of gratitude, he gave royal farman to the company. So, as a token of gratitude, he gave Farooq Shiar gave a royal farman of 1717. And what were the provisions? You just write it as 2A. Company was permitted to carry a trade, the number first. Company was permitted to carry on trade in Bengal, Bombay and Madras free of customs duty. 2B. Company was also permitted to print its own coin. So first was free custom duty and print their own coins. So 2B is company was also permitted to print its own coin and further fortify Calcutta and fortify Calcutta. Write down 2C. Company servants were also allowed to do private trade, but they were required to pay some tax as Indian merchants. So after this, once you have written this down, come back to this. Seventh point. Write down. When Farrukhsiyar was conspiring to get rid of the Sayyid brothers, they proved to be very clever for him, and with the help of Peshwa Balaji Vishwanath, please write down. With the help of Peshwa Balaji Vishwanath, they dethroned the emperor, blinded them and killed them. Blinded him and killed him. So after this, write down the fourth emperor. Muhammad Shah. So I'm just going to use MD Shah, fourth, 1719 to 1748. So in this very first point, please write down. Powerful group of nobles headed by Chin Gilij Khan. Chin Gilij Khan, also known as Asaf Jah. Asaf Jah were wary of with the growing powers of Sayyid brothers. So the very first point is powerful group of nobles headed by Chin Gilij Khan, also known as Asaf Jah, were wary of with the growing power of Sayyid brothers. Number 2, Muhammad Shah also wanted to free himself from the control of Sayyid brothers and succeeded in killing them by 1720 with the help of Asaf Jah. So Sayyid brothers died in 1720. Third point. It was a chance to save Mughal Empire, but Muhammad Shah was not the man of movement. This shows about the trait and the character of this ruler, Muhammad Shah. Please write down and change the paragraph under the third point. He was weak-minded, frivolous. He was often referred as the Rangila, since he was indulged in wine and women. Next point. During his tenure, fourth point, during his tenure, an irreversible decline initiated and it started to break up. The whole Mughal empire started to break up. Fifth point. Powerful nobles started to carve out semi-independent autonomous regions for themselves. So they were carving out some part of Mughal empire and they were named as autonomous regions. So certain were under this so write down 5A as examples: Bengal, Murshid Quli Khan, (1717), 5B, Awadh, Sadat Khan, 1722, and 5C, Hyderabad, Nizam ul Mulk Asaf Jah. Please write down the full name: Nizam ul Mulk Asaf Jah, also known as Khilji Khan. Sixth point. In 1739, Nadir Shah defeated Mughals in the Battle of Karnal to avenge the killing of handful of his soldiers. He did the massacre in Delhi. He also looted the peacock throne of Shah Jahan and Kohinoor diamond. So under this sixth point, in 1739, Nadir Shah defeated Mughals in Battle of Karnal and took away peacock throne of Shah Jahan and Kohinoor diamond, the famous Kohinoor diamond. After the death of, next point number 7. After the death of Nadir Shah, his successor Ahmad Shah Abdali invaded and plundered Mughal Empire 7 times between 1748 to 1767. So the successor of Nadir Shah was Ahmad Shah Abdali. So I'll just rub the above point and write down the 7th point here. So please write down the 7th point was: after the death of Nadir Shah, his successor Ahmad Shah Abdali invaded and plundered Mughal Empire 7 times. Between 1748 to 1767. I hope you have written this 7th point. I'm repeating the 7th point. After the death of Nadir Shah, his successor Ahmad Shah Abdali invaded and plundered Mughal Empire 7 times between 1748 to 1767. So after this, write down the 5th ruler. Ahmad Shah. Ahmad Shah, 1748 to 54. Write down the very first point under Ahmad Shah. During his tenure, Ahmad Shah Abdali invaded 2 times, 1748 and 1752. As such, Mughal emperor surrendered Multan and Punjab too, and both the times Mughal surrendered Punjab and Multan. So only this was the important incident that happened under Ahmad Shah. So write down the 6th ruler, Alamgir II, 6th, Alamgir, 1754 to 1759. I hope this point is clear. During the regime of Ahmad Shah, Nadir Shah, after the successor of Nadir Shah, Ahmad Shah Abdali invaded 2 times, in 1748 and 1752, and both the times Mughal surrendered at once Punjab and then Multan. So, 6th ruler Alamgir II. So, write down the first point. During this time, Maratha invaded Delhi. Maratha invaded Delhi to drive out Afghans and Rohillas. To drive out or to throw out Afghans and Rohillas. ROHILLAS. Next point. And Maratha, during his time, Maratha occupied Lahore and Punjab. Occupied Lahore and Punjab. I'm writing in PB, so you can just write down in full state name. You can refer this point. Next ruler, ruler number 7, Shah Alam II. So 7th ruler is Shah Alam II. Write down the very first point. He came to the power with the support of Maratha Sadasiv Rao. He came to the power with the support of Maratha ruler Sada Siva. He was the man of ability and courage. Shah Alam was the man of ability and courage, but the Mughal emperor was beyond redemption. Number 2. Under his regime, two important battles happened. First was the Third Battle of Panipat. Third Battle of Panipat. That happened in 1761, and Battle of Buxar. Third point. When Abdali was leaving Delhi, he exiled Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II from Delhi. Number fourth. Meanwhile, power in Delhi was exercised by Rohilla leader Zabita Khan and Najibullah Khan. Zabita Khan and Najibullah. Najibullah Khan, both were Rohillas. Rulers. Right on the fifth point. In 1771, Maratha Sardar Mahadji Scindia invaded Delhi and repelled Rohillas and reinstated Mughal emperor to throne. So this point is related to this. Next point, point number 6. Later in 1788, Shah Alam was blinded by Rohilla leader Zabita Khan, but soon Mahadji Scindia hunted down Rohilla leader and reinstated Mughal emperor. So let me repeat this point. Later in 1788, Shah Alam was blinded by the Rohilla leader Zabita Khan, but soon Mahadji Scindia hunted down the Rohilla leader and reinstated Mughal emperor. So this is all about Shah Alam II. So the next ruler number 8. Akbar II and Badshah Shah. Akbar II and Bahadur Shah. Akbar II and Bahadur Shah. So you don't have to write much about them. So just write down 8A. Akbar II, (1866) 1806 to 1837. Write down 8A1, first point. He gave the title of Raja to the famous social reformer Ram Mohan Roy. The title of Raja was given to Raja Ram Mohan Roy. So it was Akbar II who gave the title of Raja to Ram Mohan Roy. And 8A2, second point. In 1835, East India Company stopped minting coin in the name of Mughal Empire. In 1835, British English East India Company. I'm just writing in a short format. So you can write down this EEICS, English East India Company, stopped minting coins, minting coins in the name of Mughal Empire. This point itself made a statement that Britishers were ready. Now 8B, Bahadur Shah. Just write down this Zafar. During his tenure, the mighty revolt of 1857 happened, the very first point. So it's 8B1. Famous revolt of 1857 happened. And 8B2. Please write, in legal terms, Mughal rule came to an end on 1st November 1858. 1st November 1858 with the declaration of Queen Victoria. So we're gonna study in the later phase how all this happened and how Britishers moved from being a country, being a company to the rulers. So we're gonna study this point in the later part of our course. So yes, officially on 1st November 1857 the rule of Mughals came to an end with the declaration of Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria. So these were the later Mughals part right now. So we end up at Bahadur Shah II. Iske baad we're gonna study the declines of Mughal. So I'm just gonna rub all this. So before we proceed to the next part, I'm gonna write a basic difference between two important points, two important terminologies, which were Jagirdar and Zamindar. So in this very first point, you can write, they were granted the land by the emperor for their military service or providing military support. And in this, they were the hereditary feudal lords and owner of the land. Hereditary feudal lords and owner of land. In this point, second, land granted was for temporary period. Temporary period. And third, in this, the land grant was not hereditary. Was not hereditary. You can relate with this point. And in this, the second point, they collected revenue and also maintained the law and order in their areas. So, everyone can refer to those old Bollywood movies, जिसके अंदर हर एक गांव में कोई ना कोई ब्रूटल और एकदम क्रूल ज़मींदार होता था जो पीजेंट्स का हरासमेंट और वो करता था और उनको टॉर्चर करता था. सो यू कैन रिलेट दिस टर्म एज दे कलेक्टेड रेवेन्यू. revenue and maintained law and order in the area. Law and order in their area. So I hope you are able to understand the basic difference between Jagirdars and Zamindars. So now we're going to study a second part of our second topic of the day, in fact. So please write down the decline of Mughals. And in this, a very crisp and a straightforward pointer, the very first reasons of decline. And in this A1, you're going to write the very first reason as political cause. In this, under political cause, please write decline of Mughals began with the death of Aurangzeb in 1707. A11. Decline of Mughals began with the death of Aurangzeb in 1707. Aurangzeb in 1707. A12. Though the factors were already present from the 17th century itself. Please continue. Aurangzeb's expansionist military campaign against the Bijapur, Golconda and the Marathas are believed to have shaped the vitality of Mughal Empire. Bijapur, Golconda and Maratha. Write down in the continuation. After the death of Aurangzeb, there was no clear line of succession, and in between 1707 to 1720, near about 6 rulers were appointed to the Mughal throne. Change the paragraph. Bitter fractionalism in Mughal court precipitated whereby Irani, here we are talking about the nobles, Irani, Turani, Hindustani and Afghani. So, bitter fractionalism in Mughal court precipitated whereby Irani, Turani, Hindustani and Afghani groups started to increase their influence, and later on many of them carved out semi-independent autonomous territory for themselves. Last point. Moreover, many of the nobles were not respectful towards the Mughal ruler, example Sayyid brothers. So we studied this point earlier. Sayyid brothers and Farrukhsiyar. So this was a prime example. Now, after this, the second point or the second reason is the economic cause. So in this, write down, Mughal state has been described as the war state in its core. Its vitality depended on the military might of the Mughals. Jagirdari crisis involved emergence of too many Jagirdars chasing for very few Jagirs, coupled with unequal size of Jagirs, which trigger intense competition within nobility. Change the para. Moreover, Aurangzeb converted large part of the Deccan land into the Khalisa land. Khalisa land, which is known as Royal Land, Royal Land, and thus even the expansion to Deccan did not significantly increase the number of available Jagirs. Change the para. Attempts to increase revenue by increasing the tax rate often resulted in peasants' revolts against the rulers. Peasant revolt against the rulers. Third reason, socio-religious causes of decline. A3, socio-religious cause of decline. In this, please write. It is believed that the divisive religious policies of Aurangzeb was one of the most important factors of decline, which included the persecutions of Hindu, forcible conversion, destructions of Hindu temple, and reimposition of jizya tax. So, jizya tax. And lastly, a fourth is the military cause of decline. In this, write down. There was no fresh technological input in Mughal armory during the 18th century, and thus when faced with superior competent, which were the Britishers, Mughal army proved to be inferior. So write down the last topic of the day. Emergence of regional powers in 18th century. Emergence of regional powers in 18th century. So this can be further divided into two. One is your successor state of Mughal, and second is rebellious state. So in this, write down under A. The rulers of the states were erstwhile the members of the Mughal nobility. I repeat, the rulers of the states were the members of the Mughal nobility. They went on to carve out their own autonomous state, but they respected the nominal rule of the Mughals. A very prime example of this, how they were loyal to the Mughal Empire and still respectful. Friday prayers were raised in the name of the Mughal ruler. Coins were still minted in the name of the Mughal emperor, and annual tribute was also paid to him. So means of respect was the Friday prayers, minting of coins, and annual tribute. So in this, write down the regions. You had Awadh, Bengal, Calcutta, and the Carnatic areas. I believe you must be aware about the Carnatic areas, which were the Kerala part, the southern part of our India. So write down under rebellious state. Some of these areas were bought under Mughal rule during the regime of Aurangzeb. After the death of Aurangzeb, Mughal power started to weaken and rulers from these areas asserted their autonomy. Next para. Further, these rulers were not part of nobility and they did not accept the nominal rule of Mughals. So in this, the prime examples were the Marathas, you had Mysore and Punjab. So that would be the end of this lecture for today, and we're gonna meet in the next lecture where we'll be starting with the Anglo-French rivalry, the Carnatic Wars, and primarily there will be 4 Carnatic Wars that we'll be discussing between French and English. And we're going to start with different regions of the country, and we're going to start with the very first, Bengal, the whole chronology of Bengal. That would be all. So if you like the video, do like, share and subscribe if you like the video, and in this continuation we'll continue with the third lecture soon. So thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the video.